Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Ishvaro Gururatmiti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om. Devotees, we have been seeing Narada Bhakti Sutra, and to understand Narada Bhakti Sutra, the first thing we should have a clear understanding is who is Jivatma, who is Paramatma. I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not even the individual Jiva. I am a reflection of pure consciousness on this body and mind. So, and Paramatma is that supreme being who considers himself as this entire universe. Just as how an individual considers himself as a limited being, Paramatma, Ishvara, God, is that supreme being, that person who considers himself as this entire universe. So, this entire universe is a manifestation of Ishvara. Ishvara is not different from this world. This world is not different from Ishvara. So we have to always understand that with open eyes, whatever we are seeing is nothing but Ishvara only. So if anyone asks you, have you seen God? You can confidently say, I am seeing God. Right? So the Narayana Suktam says, Yaccha kinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate piva. So whatever you see in this world and hear in this world, it is Ishvara only. Yaccha kinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate chava. So shruyate piva, right? So Ishvara is this entire universe. And more specially, Ishvara is all the living beings in this universe. Every living being in this universe is a special manifestation of Ishvara. And that is why Swami Vivekananda said, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. Knowing that every living being in this universe is a manifestation of Ishvara, serving them is worship of Ishvara. So, serving living beings is worshipping Ishvara. This is the idea of Ishvara. Ishvara is the universal being. Now, as I am not this body, I am not this mind, all my associations related to body and mind, which include this body, this family, the house, the relatives, the education, the job, all these things are only incidental and transitory, temporary, because my association with this body is temporary. So automatically, all the associations in this world which are related to this body are also temporary. My real eternal relationship is with Ishvara alone, because my true nature is as a reflection of Ishvara. Mamaivamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. So I am pure consciousness. I am a reflection of the Ishvara. So it is Ishvara who reflects in me as pure consciousness, and that is what I am. That is my real nature. So my real relationship is with Ishvara alone. Just as a reflection of the sun on a cup of water. So I am the reflection, and Ishvara is the sun. We also saw the example of ocean and wave, right? So, my eternal relationship is with Ishvara alone. My real relationship is with Ishvara alone. This we have to remember, right? Because I am not this body, I am not this mind. My association with the body and mind are temporary. My real association, my permanent association is only with Ishvara. So, Ishvara, relationship with Ishvara is the true and permanent relationship. And that Ishvara is worshipped through various forms, through various names, and that Ishvara also comes through various incarnations. So, my relationship with my Ishtadevata, with my with the various forms through which we can worship Ishvara, that is more permanent, that is more real than our relationship with anyone in this world. This we should understand. And Ishvara is the universal being. So my relationship is with the entire universe, not with one family, one person in this world. So relationship with the entire universe is nothing but relationship with the Ishvara. Only when I start giving more importance to body based associations, then it becomes a problem. So, this vision we should understand. And this is got by remembering the Lord always. So, Narada's way of bhakti is understand who is Ishvara, surrender to Ishvara, and remember Ishvara always. Krishna said, Mayi aveshita chetasam. That is the keyword. Mayi aveshita chetasam. Develop a mind which continuously remembers the Lord. How to do that? Sri Ramakrishna has given these 5 disciplines: seek holy company, discriminate between permanent and transient, constantly chant the name of God, do all your duties with detachment, meditate in solitude occasionally. Now, this is the way of bhakti. This is the summary of the entire Narada Bhakti Sutra. And we saw the first 6 shlokas where bhakti was defined. So, we have covered the first section where supreme love was defined. And now we will go to the second section, which is basically on renunciation. So the verses 7 to 14 are classified under the heading renunciation and self-surrender by Swami Prabhavananda. So what are the topics covered here? Bhakti is manifested as renunciation. Renunciation is of worldly and religious pursuits that create attachment and disturb devotion. Basic religious duties as prescribed by the scriptures need to be performed. Basic worldly duties need to be performed to burn karma and maintain the body. So you don't ignore your duties, but then you are not having any worldly or religious pursuits. We will see the details as we go. The Sutra 7 says, Sa na kamayamana nirodha rupatvat. So, Sa means bhakti, right? That bhakti is na kamayamana. It is not of the nature of desire. We have seen bhakti is unconditional love without any expectation. If it is with the expectation, that is vyapara, right? That is transaction. That is not bhakti. Bhakti is always, true bhakti is always without any desire. Na kamaya mana. Nirodha rupatvat. Because it is of the form of renunciation. So, why is it so? So, we have seen that my real nature is not this body and mind. And all desire and attachments are based on the body and mind. So, because of that, bhakti cannot be in the form of desire, because bhakti is relationship with Ishvara. And so, my relationship with Ishvara is that I am pure consciousness, I am a reflection of the real nature of Ishvara. Now, when that is my identity, then automatically I will not have any desire for the welfare or preservation or pampering of this body and mind. Both are opposite directions. Ishvara is on one direction as my real nature as pure consciousness, and this body and mind are in the opposite direction. Desire and enjoyment, attachment, all these things are based on body and mind. So it is not, these will not go together. So that is why it says, Sa na kamayamana nirodha rupatvat. Right? So bhakti is of absence of desire and of full of renunciation. And whenever we say renunciation, renunciation is of the world. So we saw Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. There are three entities. Jiva is myself, then Jagat is this world, and Ishvara is the Lord. And Jnana towards myself, Jnana towards Jiva, Vairagya towards Jagat, and Bhakti towards Ishvara. This Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti is the natural attitudes towards Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. So this mapping, you should have it very clear. Right? Then the eighth sutra says, Nirodhastu loka veda vyapara nyasaha. So what is Nirodha? So here in this, the word Nirodha Rupatvat was defined, was given. So that is elaborated here. Nirodha tu, what is Nirodha? Loka Veda Vyapara Nyasaha. So here Loka means worldly transactions. Veda means religious transactions, rituals, those kind of things. Kamya Bhakti based things and rituals and all that. So because here actually what it means is, here Loka means pursuit of welfare in this world is called Loka, and pursuit of Swarga and the pleasures of heaven, pursuit of heaven and these pleasures of heaven is called Veda here. Because according to the scriptures, doing yajna and doing various scriptural activities, sacrifices, yagas, yajnas mentioned in the scriptures, like when done with desire, they will lead to higher lokas. Higher lokas are like Swarga and all that. So here, Veda basically means the attainment of heaven and other higher lokas. And they are also not permanent places, that we need to understand. So you attain some good karma, punya karma, because of some religious activities, and because of that you go there, and once that punya is over, you will again come back to this world. Kshine punye martya lokam vishanti, Gita says, right? So that is not a permanent place. That is just like your dream, you go there and you come back, like in the conventional sense, right? So when you say loka veda vyapara nyasaha, it means loka is worldly transactions and veda is religious transactions. This is for worldly prosperity, and Veda is for otherworldly prosperity, pursuit of otherworldly prosperity. Now, the Bhakta has love for the Lord, and he neither has desire for worldly prosperity nor does he have desire for otherworldly prosperity. Because even the otherworldly prosperity, that is also enjoyed by the individual Jivatma. Now he is giving up that also. So it is renunciation of both. Now, this whatever, uh, so now next sutra, ninth sutra says, Tasmin ananyata tad virodishu udasinata cha. So what does it mean? Tasmin, in that, right? So in that means what? Jnana, bhakti, vairagya, and love for the Lord, pursuit of Lord. Tasmin. Ananyata means you align to that, unification towards that. And tad virodishu, that which is opposed to it, udasinata cha, indifference, right? Also. And so you align your pursuits, your thought process, your value system, your priorities, everything towards jnana, bhakti, vairagya. And whatever is opposed to that, you show indifference. Anyashrayanam, anyashrayanam, tyaga, tyaga, tyagaha, ananyata. So here, now this word ananyata was there, tasmin ananyata. So that ananyata word is explained further here. What is ananyata? So what is going towards this? It is rejection of other support. Anya ashrayanam tyagah. Right? So depending upon this world for security and pleasure has to be rejected. Right? So this world does not give security. This world does not give pleasure. Right? Now, that is what we say, anityam asukam lokam. Anityam means no security. Asukam means no pleasure. So, this world cannot give us security or pleasure. We may think, okay, like I am leading my life because of the money, because of the wealth, I am getting food because of money. But where does money come from? Right? Money comes from, you can say, because I do some work and I get money. Now, you do work and you get money, what is the relationship? Law of karma, you can say. Because of the karma which I did. Now, who is the karma phaladata? Ishvara. So ultimately, your dependence is not on this world. Your dependence is on Ishvara alone. Because whatever you have in this world has been given by Ishvara. It is by the will of Ishvara that you have everything. And there are a few things here, like when Mahatma Gandhi was offered Z-level security, he asked, why are you giving me all this? And then the government official said, like, to protect you. And he said, see, if Rama wants me to live, no one can hurt me. If Rama wants this body to die, no one can protect me beyond that. So all your protection, so-called security, is only Naam ke vaste. Gandhi had that conviction, right? So if the Lord wants this body to live, no one can hurt this body. And if the Lord wants this body to die, no one can keep it, no one can save it. Sri Ramakrishna also says, God smiles at two times. And when is that? One is when a doctor tells the relatives of a patient, I will save him, don't worry. Lord smiles, it seems. He says, like, who is he to save him? And the other time is when two brothers hold a rope between to divide the land and say, that side is yours, this side is mine. So then also Lord smiles, it seems. So these are all, like fictitious ideas. So everything happens by the will of Ishvara, right? And similarly, like regarding security, if you remember, our the ex Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, she was assassinated by her own security bodyguards. Her own bodyguards are the ones who assassinated her. So when the Prime Minister of a country can be assassinated by her own bodyguards, now what security is there in this world? Remember it, right? There is absolutely no security in this world. Ishvara alone is the security. And similarly, pleasure also, no pleasure comes from this world. So in Vedanta, we have the story of the dog. It's a dog bone philosophy. So there was a dog and it found a very dry bone, right? And that bone was very dry. And Paramatanji says, how dry was the bone? It was bone dry. We in fact use the word bone as an adjective for dryness itself, right? So the bone was very dry and the dog bit the bone. And because the dog bit the bone broke, the bone cracked, and the shards of the bone, the pieces of the bone, they pierced the dog's gums in the mouth, and they started bleeding. And the taste of the blood was sensed by the tongue of the dog, right? So the dog is tasting blood. Now the dog did analysis, it rationalized the situation. Before I bit the bone, I did not taste blood. When I bit the bone, now I am tasting blood. And harder the dog bit the bone pierced the dog more, and more blood came. So the more blood that dog was experiencing. So the dog was absolutely convinced that the blood is from the bone and the bone is tasty. Actually, the dog is tasting its own blood. Now, this is exactly what happens in pleasure. There is actually no pleasure in this world, right? Now, how can we say that? Because in deep sleep, when we have absolutely no connection with the sense objects in this world, we experience pleasure. Whenever we get out of deep sleep, we say, I had a good sleep, I enjoyed. So deep sleep is always enjoyment. There is never an iota of suffering in deep sleep. And in deep sleep, there is absolutely no contact with the sense objects at all. So from this we can conclude that the absence of sense objects, the absence of desire for sense objects gives happiness. So then, what is desire? Desire is when we want to experience some sense object. Now, that desire is sorrow. Like no desire is joy. Desire is always sorrow. Desire is actually just a manifestation of sorrow only. No one says, I desire it, I love desiring. No. Desire is always sorrow only. So, when the sense object is acquired, when the sense organ has a contact to the sense object, temporarily that desire is suspended. There comes a moment where the mind is free from desire because what it desired, it has got. Now, that moment when there is no desire in the mind causes joy, causes happiness. We experience that absence of desire as happiness. And by mistake, we say, I got happiness from the sense object. Actually, the happiness did not come from the sense object. Happiness comes because of a state of absence of desire. And absence of desire came because of the contact of the sense organ to the sense object. So, and why was that? Because of the previous desire, which was sorrow. It was already in a negative state. So it came back to positive state or came back to the neutral, and that upward movement we experience as joy. So joy did not come from the sense object. Joy came from the absence of desire. How can we say so? Now we can say so because this the joy experienced from various objects of desire is always the same. Finally, whether irrespective of the cause of the joy, the nature of the happiness is always the same. It is not that, okay, if I watch a good movie, then I have one kind of happiness. If I taste some good food, I have another kind of happiness. If I get some success, I have another kind of happiness. No. The experience of happiness is always the same. If you analyze, irrespective of the cause of happiness, the experience of happiness is always the same. And to put it in neuroscience language, it is basically like the dopamine, which gets the chemical called dopamine, which gets into the brain, which causes happiness. So, irrespective of the trigger, the chemical in the brain is the same, and the experience of happiness is the same. And the same object gives happiness to some people and gives sorrow to some other person. And even for the same person, the same object gives happiness at some time and sorrow at some other time. Say, for example, a person likes laddu. Now, he has a desire to eat laddu, and when he goes and buys in the shop and eats laddu, he gets happiness out of it. Now, suppose the same laddu was served as in the shraddha towards his father. Let us say his father's shraddha ceremony is there, memorial is there, and in that they serve laddu. Now, this laddu he will not enjoy because he is full of sorrow for his father. The same laddu, the same sweetness, but it gave happiness at one time, but now it gives sorrow because this laddu reminds him of his father. So, the same object, even the same sensory experience does not give joy at all times. And even if a person likes laddu, the first laddu will give more happiness, second one will give less, the third one he will say, enough, I don't want more. So analyzing all these things, the conclusion is pleasure, joy, happiness does not come from the experience of pleasure. Sensory pleasure is not the cause of happiness. It is the fulfillment of desire, because of which there is a temporary suspension of desire, which creates happiness, and that is what we experience. So now, what is the most sustainable way of getting happiness? Give up desire. Whatever desire you have, renounce the desire, and automatically you will get happiness. Right? That is what Taittiriya Upanishad says. Sakama yata. Right? So, a person who has, so in the Taittiriya Upanishad, there is this what is called as Ananda Mimamsa. Right? Now, in the Ananda Mimamsa, it gives various levels of happiness. And at every level, it says, Shrotriya cha akamayata. So, a person who has understood the nature of happiness and who has given up desires, he also experiences the same happiness. Right? So, the same happiness which you experience by acquiring various things is also experienced by the person who has given up the desire for that very same thing. So, what it means, suppose there is a laddu, the happiness of a person, the happiness experienced by a person who eats the laddu is also experienced by the person who renounces the desire for laddu. Right? So, this is the analysis of happiness, of pleasure, which has been done in the Vedanta. So, this is what is mentioned here as Anya Ashrayanam Tyagaha. So, dependence upon support of this world for security and pleasure should be renounced. Right? Because this world does not give security and pleasure. If you analyze it, you will find that this world does not give. It is only a lack of understanding and delusion and wrong assumptions that make us think that this world gives security and pleasure. This world is not the cause of security and pleasure. This conviction we should have by proper analysis, and that is what is called as ananyata, he says. Anya ashrayanam tyagaha ananyata. Right? When we have this kind of analysis, automatically we will develop renunciation. So, renunciation does not mean you give up something forcibly. You give up something because you realize that that object does not have any value. Renouncing the value is what is renunciation. Right? So, the scriptures give an example of Kaka Brishta. So, when you are walking under a tree, suppose a crow had shitted on you, on your cloth. So, you have on your shirt, on the shoulder, suppose there is a crow had shitted. Then what do? With your finger, you just knock it away. Right? You just knock it away with your finger, the crow shit. Right? Now, why do you knock it away? Because you don't give any value to it. In fact, that has got a negative value. Now, renouncing the world because it has no positive value and because you see only negative value in it is true renunciation. So, a person who has truly renounced will not go around and say, oh, I have renounced this, because he has renounced it naturally, because he doesn't see value in that. So, naturally, you will renounce something towards which you don't have any value. So, that is what is renunciation. So, that is what is meant by Anya Ashrayanam Tyagaha. Right? So, now, next, so this word is explained. What is Ananyata has been explained. Now, there is another, the second sutra. Here we saw the 10th sutra. Tad Virodishu Udasinatacha. What does that mean? So, that is explained in the next sutra, the sutra 11. Tad Virodishu Udasinata. So, what is Tad Virodishu Udasinata? Then people might say, oh, then you will completely not do any worldly duties. You will not do your duties. You will not do any in any of the rituals which are prescribed in the Vedas. Will you stop doing your Gayatri Japa? Will you stop doing Sandhya Vandana? right? Will you stop taking care of your family? That is the question. So here, in the next few shlokas, there is a clarification given on that. Loka Vedeshu tad anukula acharanam. So, Loka Vedeshu tad anukula acharanam tad virodishu udasinata. So, tad here means for devotion. Tad anukula means that which is favorable to devotion, acharanam, practicing. So, practicing that which is favorable to devotion, those worldly and religious actions, doing them is indifference to the others. How can it be? So, Sri Ramakrishna says, walking, if you want to renounce the West, if you want to get away from the West, you just walk towards the East, right? Now, suppose, I'll give you another example which is easier. Suppose, let us say, a doctor says, here is a medicine, and this medicine will be effective only if you don't remember a monkey when you take this medicine. Suppose, just a hypothetical situation. It's a funny but hypothetical situation. Suppose there is a medicine, and that medicine will be effective only when you don't remember a monkey. Suppose. Now, when administering this medicine to the patient, suppose when prescribing it, suppose the doctor says, here is a bottle of medicine. Every day morning before breakfast, you take 10 ml of this medicine, but be careful, for the medicine to be effective, you should never remember a monkey when taking this medicine. Suppose if the doctor says that. Then what will happen to the patient? Morning he will take this medicine, he will pour 10 ml and say, yes, and the doctor told me I should not remember a monkey when taking it. Now, has he remembered a monkey? Yes. Right? So, remembering that I should not remember a monkey itself is remembering the monkey. So, it is absolutely impossible to say, right, I will not remember monkey when taking this medicine. It will not work. It's not possible. So, what should the doctor's prescription be? The doctor should not even mention monkey, right? The doctor should say, whenever you take this medicine, you remember a donkey and take the medicine. The person will remember a donkey or a lion or an elephant. You can say elephant. Whenever you take the medicine, you should remember an elephant and you take the medicine. And print a picture of an elephant also on the bottle. So whenever he takes the medicine, he'll remember elephant. The devotee doesn't even know that he should not remember monkey. That should not be even told to him. Right? So basically, like, if you go on the opposite direction, then automatically you will renounce that. So we cannot, so basically here, that is what we do here, right? What do? We cannot avoid doing worldly duties. We cannot avoid doing religious actions. So we have to anyway do them. So we give a different reason for doing them. So we say, do all your worldly duties for the sake of welfare of this world. Do it as service. Do it as Ishvara Prityartham, right? Not for any benefit. Worldly, don't even talk about worldly benefit. So that is what here it is, tad anukulata. So the worldly duties, those worldly duties and those religious rituals, when done without desire for worldly and other worldly benefits, they will be favorable to devotion, because you see this entire world as a form of Ishvara and you do all your duties as service to Ishvara, right? That is what Krishna says. right? He says, Swakarmanam tam abhyarchya, right? By doing your duties, do your duties as offering to the Lord. Archana. Archana means worship, right? Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. Siddhim vindati manavaha. Gita says, right? So you do your duty as an offering to the Lord. Why? He says, the previous half of the shloka says, Yataf pravritir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmanatam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. Right? Yataf pravritir bhutanam. This entire universe, this world, has come from the Lord. Yatah. From which? From whom? Yataf pravritir bhutanam. This world has come. Yena sarvam idam tatam. By whom this entire universe is filled. This entire universe has come from the Lord and it is completely filled with the Lord. This universe is nothing but the form of Ishvara only. Yataf pravritir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam. Because of that, swakarmanam tam abhyarchya. And it is the Lord who has given you your current position. The Lord has kept you as the son of so-and-so, the daughter of so-and-so, husband of so-and-so, wife of so-and-so, right? As a citizen of this country, right? So, whatever position you have in this world, that position was given to you by the Lord. The Lord has put you in that position. So, doing the duties of that position properly, doing full justice to that position is worship of that Lord who has given you that position. Right? Suppose, I'll give you an example. Suppose there is a factory, a big factory, and the factory owner has a son, his only son. Now this son goes abroad and has studied and done engineering, MBA, everything. And he has come back. And a few years later, after the father retires, the son is the one who has to manage this entire factory. But he has been away from the factory. All his education has been abroad. So he has absolutely no idea what is happening in this factory. So now the father wants to get this son familiar with the various activities in the factory. So what does the father do? He says, you work as an intern in this factory in different departments. So 3 months you work in the procurement department. 3 months you work in the sales department. 3 months you work on the shop floor. 3 months you work in the packaging department. 3 months you work in the logistics department. 3 months you work in the accounts department. So like this, the father prepares a plan and puts this son as an intern, as an ordinary employee in various departments so that this son becomes familiar with all the happenings of this factory. So now let us say, for example, one particular 3 months, this son is supposed to be as an intern in the shop floor, right, working in the manufacturing section. Now the son, what should the son do? What should his behavior be? He should do his assigned work properly, just as any other employee in the factory. Now he should not hold a air of arrogance that, oh, I am the son of the owner. In future, I am the owner of this factory. Now, if he carries that arrogance, he will never learn how the factory works. He has to forget everything and he has to do his duties with all humility, with all curiosity. Then only he can learn everything. So the same condition is with us. The Lord has placed us as a son, as a daughter, as a father, as a mother, as a husband, as a wife, right? As an employer or as an employee, as a neighbor, as a citizen. All these roles has been given to us by the Lord. He has placed us here, and doing our duty correctly to all these roles as an offering to the Lord is worship of the Lord. That is what Gita says, Swakarmanatam Abhyarchya. So doing the worldly duties that way is itself a means to devotion. That is what is meant by Tad Anukula Acharanam. So do the worldly duties and also the religious duties. Do Gayatri Japa or the Japa of the mantra given to you by your Guru as a means to develop devotion to the Lord, as a means to connect your mind to the Lord, as a means to develop that Mayi Aveshita Chetasam, right? The mind which is fully soaked in the thought of the Lord. Towards that, you do your japa, puja, everything. Then such a performance of worldly and religious duties do not hurt devotion. They are favorable to devotion, right? So do your worldly duties as offering to the Lord, to the Virat Ishvara, to the Vishwarupa Ishvara, and do all your religious activities to connect to Ishvara within you. Then it becomes favorable to devotion. So Loka Vedeshu tad Anukula Acharanam tad Virodishu Udasinata. Then automatically you will be away from the hostile, the attitudes hostile to it. So you don't need to worry about it. You follow this thing. That's what it says. Now, even after establishing in the highest realization, don't give up the scriptural teachings. That's what it says. Bhavatu Nishchaya Dardya Urdhvam. Urdhvam means after the highest, right? So even after firmly establishing in the highest, Nishchaya Dardya Urdhvam Shastra Rakshanam, right? So still you follow the scriptural teachings. That don't give up your japa, puja, swadhyaya, even after attaining the highest level of devotion. Right? Why? Anyatha patita shankaya. So, patita shankaya. So, otherwise, there is a risk of fall. Right? Anyatha patita shankaya. So, even after you think you have firmly got established in devotion, right? You have had even the vision of the Lord. You have seen the form of the Lord. Then also, don't ignore the spiritual teachings. Don't stop your sadhana. Continue to do your sadhana till the fall of this body. Don't give up doing your japa, parayana, and puja. That is what Ravana also had the vision of the Lord. And he did all kinds of cantankerous activities even after that. So, never be overconfident. Never be overconfident that, oh, I have achieved. When I think of the Lord, my eyes are watering. So I have achieved. So now I don't need to do japa. No, never think like that. Always follow the scriptural teachings, follow the instructions of the Guru. Never give up your puja, parayana, and japa, because the risk of fall is always there. Right? As long as this body lives, there is a risk of fall. So never ignore, right? Swadhyaya na pramaditavyam, right? Never ignore studying. So this is what these two sutras say. Now, loko api tavadeva bhojanadi vyapara tu a sharira dharana avadhi. Right? So the worldly duties, right? Lokaha api tavadeva. So can be followed like that only, like whatever we saw before, like just like the religious duties have to be followed, right? Similarly, you follow the worldly duties too. For example, bhojana adi vyaparaha, activities like eating, because eating is needed to maintain this body. Two are however needed, a sharira dharana avadi. So till the body is living, till you carry this body, till you have to, you are forced to do some worldly duties like eating. We cannot avoid it. So keep it at the minimum and do it as an offering to the Lord, do it as a duty and not for pleasure or enjoyment. So that is what it says. So it is not wrong to maintain the bare minimum worldly duties, because you have to do something, like you have to eat, you have to do some exercise, you have to sleep. All these things are needed to maintain the health of the body. So that can be done, nothing wrong in that. But don't indulge in sense pleasures. That is have to be avoided, because don't depend upon sense pleasures for your happiness, right? That has to be avoided. So this is what this chapter talked about. So what all did we see? Bhakti is manifested as renunciation. So renunciation and bhakti will always go together. If it is not connected with renunciation, that is not bhakti, that is vyapara. This is what Narada Bhakti Sutras repeatedly keep saying, right? Jnana vairagya sahita bhakti. Bhakti, which is connected with jnana and vairagya. That is what is true bhakti. That is what is called as Naradiya bhakti, right? And renunciation is of worldly and religious pursuits that create attachment and disturb devotion. But basic religious duties, as prescribed in the scriptures, need to be performed, and basic worldly duties need to be performed to burn karma and to maintain the body. By serving our family, by serving our country, by serving our profession, we are basically burning the prarabdha karma, right? So we have to do those duties. Natural duties are have to be done as means to burn karma and as means to develop devotion to the Lord. Looking at this entire universe as Vishwarupa Ishvara, do all duties as offering to the Lord, and basic activities to maintain the body have to be done. So this is what we have seen in this chapter. Is it time? Yeah. So continuing to the next chapter. Next chapter gives some exemplars of devotional love. So verses 15 to 24, what does these verses cover? It says, Bhakti is expressed as doing religious worship, hearing and chanting his glories, meditation on the Lord as Atman within, and doing all actions for him, remembering his divinity. So these are the four expressions of Bhakti. Now, if you, the moment you look at this four expressions, you can remember the four shlokas in the Gita, 12th chapter, right? What are the four shlokas? The shlokas of, what is that? One second, let me take the Gita so that it is easier. So in the 12th chapter, so we have the 8th shloka onwards, which basically talk about meditation, right? Mayyeva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya niveshisyasi mayyeva atha urdhvam na samshayah. Basically, meditate upon the Lord as the Atman within, right? Mayyeva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivashisyasi mayyeva atha urdhvam na samshayah. Now, suppose if you are not able to meditate, then what do? Atachittam samadhatum na shaknoti mayi stiram. If you are not able to focus, then abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya. Abhyasa yoga you follow. What is abhyasa yoga? Loud chanting. So hearing and chanting his glories is what is called as abhyasa yoga. So Gita says, Gita 9th shloka, 12th chapter 9th shloka says, Abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya. So he says hearing and chanting his glories. Now suppose if you are not able to do even that, Abhyasepya asamartosi matkarma paramo bhava. So matkarma paramo bhava. What is matkarma paramo bhava? Doing religious worship. Right? Madartam api karmani kurvan siddhim avapsisi. By doing that, you will become eligible. So, what Gita says is, what is central is meditation on the Lord. If you are not able to do meditation, as a preparation for meditation, you chant the glories of the Lord. Hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, it is Abhyasa Yoga, it says. And if you say, my mind is still roaming around, it is very, very outgoing, rajasic, I can't even do this, even Parayana I cannot do, then to prepare the mind to do Parayana, you do religious worship. Matkarma paramo bhava, he says. And then he says, Athaitadapya shaktosi kartum madhyogam ashritaha sarva karma phalatyagam tatah kuru yatatmavan. The 11th shloka. So that is this last line. Do all actions for him, remembering his divinity. That becomes a preparation for worship. So this is what the 4 shlokas from 8th to 11th in the 12th chapter is what is described in the Narada Bhakti Sutras in this. Right? So with this background, we can easily understand this. And each of them is told by different acharyas. That is what it presents it as. Tad lakshanani vachanyate nana matta vedat. So tad lakshanani, bhakti's characteristics, vachyante nana. So vachyante nana are explained variously, mata vedat, because of different viewpoints. So these 4 types of bhakti are from different viewpoints and they have been explained, he says. So, puja dishva anuraga iti parasharya. So, parasharya is sage Vyasa. So, he is the son of the sage Parasara. Parashara's son is Parasharya. So, sage Vyasa says, puja dishu anuragaha. Raga means desire or attachment. Anuraga means higher desire, higher attachment. So basically, so Anuraga means devotion. Raga means desire. But Anuraga means devotion because you have desire for the Lord. That is Anuraga. So Puja Dishu Anuraga. So you have strong orientation, desire to do worship, love to do worship, and diligence to do worship. So puja dishu anuragaha iti parasharya. So sage Vyasa says doing puja is bhakti. Kathadishu iti gargaha. So Garga Rishi, he says kathadishu, holy discourses, hearing the names of the Lord, chanting the names of the Lord, right? Hearing the stories of the Lord. So, kathadishu iti gargaha. Garga says that is bhakti. Now, Shandilya says Atma Rati iti Atma Rati avirodhena iti Shandilya. Right? So, thinking about the Lord without any disturbance. Right? Atma Rati avirodena iti Shandilya. So Shandilya says, remembering the Lord as the self, meditating upon the Lord as the self, that is bhakti. Right? So then, what does Narada say? Naradastu tad arpita akhila acharata tad vishmarane parama vyakulate ta iti. So Narada says bhakti as Naradaha tu tad arpita, having offered akhila acharata, all actions to him. So offering all the actions to the Lord, and tad vishmarane, if even for a moment, if the Lord is not remembered, parama vyakulata, extreme anguish iti, thus. So basically, remembering the Lord always and offering all actions to the Lord, this is bhakti, says Narada. So now, even though we see that Vyasa says something, Garga says something, Shandilya says something, now these are not exclusive, these are all inclusive. They all complement each other. Like should not look at them as independent, separate disciplines of bhakti. All of them have to be done and they all complement with each other. So now that is what, so now whatever Narada says, is there an example for what Narada has said? He says, yes. Asti evam evam. There are such instances. Yatha, how? Vrija Gopikanam, right? So the Vrija Gopikanam, the Gopikas of Vrija, right, of Vrindavan, they followed all this bhakti, right? They did all their duties as offering to Krishna, and they underwent great vyakulata whenever they forgot Krishna, Vishmarane, vyakulata. And so, and also they truly understood that Krishna is the Atma within, right? So whatever Shandilya told, no? So remembering that Ishvara is the Atma, that also they did. Na mahatmya jnana vishmriti apavadaha, because there is no blame of forgetting the knowledge of divinity. They always remembered the divinity of the Lord. Why? Tad vihinam jaranam iva. So, like, without considering the Lord as the universal being, as the Vishwarupa Ishvara, as the Antaryami, without that, bhakti will be just boiled down to like ordinary human love, right? Bhakti can be there only with Ishvara. If you don't remember the glory of Ishvara, if you don't remember Ishvara as the Vishwarupa and the Antaryami, then that love will be just like any worldly love. And in that, na asti eva tasmin tat sukha sukitvam. So real bhakti is tat sukha sukitvam. Real love is you find happiness in the happiness of the other. It is not a selfish pursuit, it is an unselfish pursuit. It is along with vairagya. So tat sukha sukitvam is a very beautiful expression that true love is vairagya. True love is sacrificing for the sake of the other. That is what is true love, right? So this is what this chapter says. So what did we see? The four means of expression of bhakti. So we can rearrange it because as arranged in the Gita. Gita gives the sequence First is meditation upon the Lord as the Atman within. That is the highest. To support that, to be able to do that, hear and chant his glories. To be able to do that, do religious worship. To be able to do that, do all actions for him, remembering his divinity. Right? So with your eyes open, outside the puja room, do all actions for him, remembering his divinity. Inside the puja room, puja, parayana, dhyana. Right? So these are the 3 steps which we always follow in spiritual practice. Whatever spiritual practice we do, always we first do puja, then we do parayana, then we do dhyana, japa. Because that is how the mind can focus. And this puja padati, this procedure of spiritual practice, right? Puja, parayana, japa is mentioned in the Gita. It is based on the Gita. It is also based on the Narada Bhakti Sutra. So both of them recommend this sequence of spiritual practice. And all these put together is what is bhakti. We cannot isolate and do one of them. Though meditation on the Lord as Atman is the highest, it is not sustainable to do that kind of a bhakti without the support of the other 3. Then only that is possible. Because mind will not always be in the highest level. Right? So there will be ups and downs. So to be able to sustain, we need to have all the 4. This is what we learn from Narada Bhakti Sutra at this point of time. Any questions from anyone?
கோகுல் நமஸ்தே. எனக்கு கொஸ்டின் என்னன்னா, தமிழ்ல பேசலாம்ல? நோ ப்ராப்ளம்.
தமிழ் கேளுங்க.
இப்போ எல்லாமே கடவுள் தான், பிரபஞ்சம், உலகம் அப்படிங்கும்போது நம்ம என்ன வேலை செஞ்சாலும் அது பகவானுக்கு செய்யற அப்ப பூஜையா தான் ஆகுது. அப்போ நமக்கு தெரிஞ்சோ தெரியாமனாலும் வாட் எவர் இட் இஸ், எது நம்ம செய்யறதும் பகவான் செய்யற பூஜை தானா?
எஸ் எஸ், கரெக்ட்.
ஓஹோ,
எல்லா வேலையும் பகவான், everything you do is offering to Bhagavan only, because there is nothing other than Bhagavan that exists.
ஓகே. அப்போ நான் கான்சியஸோட இப்ப நான் செய்யறது பகவான் கொடுத்திருக்கிறாரு, அவருக்காக நான் அந்த வேலை செய்யறேன் அப்படிங்கிற கான்சியஸோட நான் செய்யும்போது அது இன்னும் மோர் பவர்ஃபுல்லா ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல்லையும் ஆகுது, பக்திலையும் ஆகும் இல்லைங்களா?
Exactly. That is what he says. This entire universe is nothing but Ishvara.
Thank you, Jai Ramakrishna.
Gokulji.
Yes, sir.
Gokulji, and the 4 steps of bhakti chonaliya. For example, puja, parayanam, adukapra dhyanam.
Yes.
இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப்ஸ் எல்லாமே வந்து சகுண பிரம்மத்தை இது பண்ணி பகவான் வச்சு வருது இல்லையா? லாஸ்டா நம்ம தியானம் போறப்போ அப்ப நிர்குணத்துக்கு போறது தியானத்துக்கு வருமா?
So see, any transaction can be only with Saguna Brahman. Okay. Because Nirguna Brahman is free from any transaction. So all transactions can be done only with Saguna Brahman. So we pursue with Saguna Brahman only.
When we shift to Nirguna Brahman,
that will happen by itself. Okay. That is what Krishna says. Etu sarvani karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha ananyena yogena mam dhyayanta upasate. You do only this much. You ensure that your mind is completely soaked in Ishvara, and you give up this body, give up this mind, and saying these are all part of Ishvara only. I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not this individual. And so when you offer everything to Ishvara, automatically what remains will become Nirguna Brahman, and which knowledge will come by itself. You don't need to explicitly work for it. You have to listen
Because
to the scriptures. So that Nirguna Brahman, because Nirguna Brahman is always Jnanam. And that will be
Yeah.
got by listening to the scriptures, listening to the lectures.
Mhm,
So you expose yourself to Vedanta Shravana,
mhm.
and if you have sufficiently prepared the mind with Jnana, Bhakti and Vairagya, then that aha moment will come when you will understand in a flash, you will understand, yes, I am pure consciousness. So everything else is preparations
But
for that aha moment. That you cannot work for it explicitly.
no, my real issue is
Hmm.
people who are very much devoted in bhakti and all, because
Hmm.
basically they
Hmm.
are to Saguna Brahman. Even the people
Huh.
who are
It is
highly
okay.
pious, highly religious, the difference of
Hmm.
opinion, yes, my God is great. Then in that process, they try to disregard. For example, if you see
No, no,
Vaishnavites,
no,
they want
no,
to
no, 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 no,
disregard.
no, wait.
See, this is happening even without their knowledge because of their too much of attachment to the Saguna Brahman, which they
No,
worship.
no, no. See, now Bhakti and Vairagya will go together. If it doesn't go together, it is not Bhakti. We have seen, right? So anything for worldly benefit, anything for name, fame, possession, pleasure, that is not Bhakti. We have already ruled it out.
No, but
Okay.
Saguna Brahman mean, what I'm saying is, even the other conditions which you have told is being
Hmm.
followed, but
Hmm.
they feel that the Saguna Brahman which they are worshipping is the great. There,
No,
that comes
how?
invariably. One of the problems of Hinduism itself is Sanatana Dharma itself is this clash between the various people who practice or worship various Saguna Brahman, alva.
See, Saguna, moment you say Saguna Brahman, there can be
Mm,
only one Saguna Brahman.
okay,
Your form of worship might be different. One
that is
person
what
might
I'm
worship
saying.
as Shiva, another person might worship as Vishnu. But
Mm,
if you have true bhakti,
mm.
you will not have distinction between this form or that form. If
No,
you
but
have
that is what is
distinction,
practically happening.
then it is not bhakti. That's all.
Acha.
It is not bhakti.
Hmm.
If you have distinction between forms, it is not bhakti. You are following some selfish pursuit in the name of bhakti. That's all. It is vyapara.
Okay.
Okay. True bhakti will always be universal because there is only one God who manifests in all these forms.
Yeah.
So if you restrict God to this form or this ritual to that ritual or this place or that place, you are not, that is not true bhakti at all. You are not understood God at all. When you have not understood God, then where is the question of bhakti?
Okay.
So Saguna Brahma Bhakti means it is a universal Ishvara, Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti. Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti, there can be only one God, one form, who manifests in multiple forms. And you cannot have any dvesha towards people, right? Because this entire universe is, when you say Bhagavan, how can you have dvesha towards any part of any section of the people?
That is what is practically happening.
No, that means that is not bhakti, that's all. See, there is absolutely no
That
place
is
for
not true
any,
bhakti.
there is absolutely no place for any dvesha in bhakti. Even if there is a small iota of dvesha, hatred,
Hmm.
towards any section of people or any practice, then it is not bhakti, that's all.
Okay. Thank you, Ji.
Hmm. When the Lord is Vishwarupa Ishvara, how can you have any hatred towards any living being? Right? Good. And when pursued in the right way, automatically Saguna Ishvara bhakti will lead to nirguna jnanam. That will happen automatically. Krishna himself gives that assurance. Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat, he says. He says, I will take care of those people. You follow saguna bhakti, and properly when followed according to the 12th chapter of the Gita, Krishna says, I will give you the nirguna jnanam. Atma jnanam, I will give you. You don't need to worry about it, he says.
Okay.
Good question. Thank you, sir. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Shri Ramakrishna. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.